Well, guys, we've got some Seattle Seahawks breaking news, and of course, it would break while I'm sick, but I am going to go ahead and push through the sickness to talk about a pretty big chunk of Seahawks news. I mean, this is about as big as we're going to get during this offseason. I would go so far as to say nothing is going to have a bigger effect on the 2026 Seattle Seahawks than this in terms of 2026 offseason moves. The Seahawks have their new offensive coordinator. I thought I was going to be making those offensive coordinator resume videos for at least another week or so, but not the case. We have our guy. It's not an in-house guy. It's not a guy that was necessarily at the top of anyone's list. And I know that a lot of people are going to say, "Who is this?" Well, the good news for me is that I actually just uploaded a video like an hour ago talking about this coach, Brian Fleury. That is our new offensive coordinator. All right, guys, before we go any further into the video, I want to take a minute to tell you guys about my friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. Download the app to your phone. You can celebrate and chat about sports in real time with other users. You can get scores, news, and alerts with blazing fast speed. And you can play in daily fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. So enjoy sports together. Download Sleeper today, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN for up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Plus, they currently have a free $20 entry, no deposit required, just make an account. Terms and conditions do apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper and have fun with sports this year. All right, so Brian Fleury is our new offensive coordinator for 2026, and some of you guys have probably already seen the video I posted an hour ago, so you guys have a pretty good idea of him. I will briefly go over his resume again in this video, but obviously this is not something that was at the top of most people's lists. There was an expectation we were going to hire in-house, and if we didn't hire in-house, we were going to get somebody with experience from the outside as an offensive coordinator, if not a play caller. And Brian Fleury is none of those things. What he is, however, and I imagine this is a big reason why he got the job, is he is a Kyle Shanahan acolyte. He's been working under or with Kyle Shanahan for most of his NFL coaching career. So they want to maintain the Kubiak offense from last year as much as they can. So I can rock with that. I can mess with that a little bit. Now we got this tweet from Tom Pelissaro. The Seahawks considered several in-house candidates for the job, but Brian Fleury seized the opportunity in his interview Saturday and is now headed to Seattle. So by the way, one thing to take away from that is Adam Schefter's reported it, and now Tom Pelissaro's reported it. So therefore, it's pretty clearly happening. If it was just one person, it could be a mistake. It could be a misreported thing. But I think that when you see it from Schefter and Pelissaro, it's clearly true. So this implies that Brian Fleury did an amazing job in the interview, and I can rock with that. If he legitimately did something in the interview process to earn this job, then look, one thing that I said going into this hire cycle was if we hired in-house without looking like we did a lot of work trying to figure out things on the outside and looking at outside candidates, it would kind of feel a little bit lazy. I mean, you cannot call this lazy. They had an interview with a guy who was not on the team and has never been on the team. He's never been a Seahawks coach before, and they allowed the interview to speak for itself. So Brian Fleury did something in that interview that impressed that impressed Mike McDonald and John Schneider, and now they're going to go ahead and roll with it. That doesn't mean it's going to work, but it does mean that he did something to earn it. They didn't just hand it to him because he was standing there when they needed somebody. Now, one trickle-down element of this hire is that Andrew Janocko is going to be out of here. He's going to sign with the Raiders to be their offensive coordinator. So Andrew Janocko is going to not be the Seahawks quarterback coach in 2026. But it's starting to look like that's going to be the only loss of note for the Seahawks coaching staff other than Kubiak himself. It looks like we're going to keep John Benton. It looks like we're going to keep Mac Brown. Looks like we're going to keep most of these guys. And I would have expected a lot of those guys to leave, especially after we go outside the current team to hire an OC. But it looks like we're going to get to keep most of those guys. So that's pretty cool. But Janako looks like he is off to the Raiders. So good luck to him. We'll always appreciate the fact that he helped us win a Super Bowl, but it's not a surprise that he would seek a promotion elsewhere if we could not give it to him. Now, the interesting thing here is what happens to Justin Outen. Does he leave now, or does he stick around? Because remember, we did block the interview from the Raiders, but we did not block the Janako interview. So for some reason, we value Janako enough to not let him even have the opportunity to leave, but not Janako. So that implies there is something bigger in store for Justin Outen, but time will tell. Okay, now Brian Fleury, I already made this video. Go watch the video that I posted a little more than an hour ago if you want to know more about Brian Fleury. But the nuts and bolts here is that he has worked under Shanahan in San Francisco since 2019. So he is a Shanahan guy. What are the roles he's had as the Shanahan guy? He's been a defensive quality control coach, an offensive quality control coach, a tight ends coach, and a run game coordinator. So several different hats he's worn as a member of the 49ers. And clearly the goal is to maintain that Kyle Shanahan style offense, which should absolutely be the goal for this Seahawks offense because they had so much success with it in 2025. Now, clearly, this guy has never been a play caller before. This guy has never been an NFL offensive coordinator before. So if you're looking for me to say whether or not he'd be good, that's just not going to happen. I don't know. There's no way to know because we've never seen what he does as a play caller before, and he is going to get to call plays here. And you look at the resume, it seems reasonable that he's now getting an OC opportunity, but it doesn't jump off the page. It doesn't seem overly obvious, right? Like 4 years as a tight end coach, the last 4 years, got bumped up to run game coordinator this last year. For a run game that was kind of mediocre, by the way, the Niners did not run the ball for that many yards, although they were decently efficient and effective when they needed to be at running the ball. They did have the 10th best rush EPA in football. But I don't look at this resume and go, oh yeah, this guy definitely needs to become an offensive coordinator who calls plays now. I look at this resume and I think to myself, this is a guy who's good. As a tight ends coach, what are you associated with on the 49ers? George Kittle, who's been maybe the best tight end in the league for the last several years. And in 2025, he did develop Jake Tonges into a good player, somebody who was adequately filling in for Kittle when Kittle was hurt. And that's great. But for the most part, this seems to be a bet on Brian Fleury being able to keep the Shanahan train rolling. And look, you work under Shanahan for that long, and we're talking about 7 years. It's not a bad bet. I don't think it's a bad bet at all. I don't know if it's the best bet you could have made. All right, so let me know what you guys think. Again, if you want to know more about Fleury, I went into further detail in the video I posted a couple of hours ago, but he is our new offensive coordinator, so we don't have to think about any further hires or any further resumes or interviews. We may have to replace Janako as quarterback coach, but other than that, looking pretty clean. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Everybody have a good rest of your day. More videos coming soon.